Carolina is here as well. Good evening. So yeah, thanks for just bearing with me whilst I was getting all that sorted, guys. It was a little bit touch and go, going like, am I going to get on the scope tonight? It's been one of them days though. It's been a super hectic day today. I've been doing 4 hours of voiceover today. Super like lengthy e-learning. So it's like it's teaching people how to use this particular software. It's so technical. And like me and Chris, the engineer, 4 hours of it. You wouldn't think sitting there, literally like this, in front of a microphone, is tiring. But it is so tiring. Like mentally, try to process this stuff. It's difficult. I'm back in the morning at 9 a.m. as well. Then I've got to film Rob James Collier. It's coming on Acts on This tomorrow for an interview, video interview. That's going to be great. That'll be a really, really good interview, guys. So if you don't know who Rob is, Rob James Collier, he's a great mate of mine. I've known him for like 15 years now, but he's done some incredible stuff as an actor. He starred in Downton Abbey for 6 years as Thomas, the evil butler. Before that, he was on Corrie. He's just on ITV's The Level. He's now writing stuff as well. Great guy, super down to earth. If you've got questions for him, please tweet me at Ross A. Grant or tweet at Act on This TV. Can't wait for that, says Sasha. Sasha, it's going to be funny because he's my mate. We can just take the mick out of each other, and I can ask him questions that I don't think other people would dare kind of ask him. So if you've got anything that you're like, oh, that might be a bit risque, I'll just ask him. Caroline wants snogging tips off him. Well, I'll see if he's up for helping you with that. Caroline, I'll let you know. So welcome, guys. Thank you for bearing with us whilst we're getting the technical stuff sorted tonight. If you're listening to this on the Act on This TV audio experience on the replay, massively appreciate you being here as well. I've got some fantastic material to share with you on this broadcast right now. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, again, really appreciate you. And obviously all you guys watching live, you can actually communicate with me tonight and comment. Sam says, put a good word into his agent for me. I will, Sam, along with a good word about myself as well. Honestly, I could definitely do with Rob getting me some acting work. That would be great. It should be nice. Tonight, guys, we're talking about a topic that I've spoken about many times before, but something that I feel like, and I feel this in my own life as well, I feel that we're battling this every single day of our lives in one way or another. And that is the topic of fear. Okay? I guarantee you, because I feel it myself, and we're all human, and I know we're all fallible at this, there is something that you didn't do today, or there is something that you haven't done this week or this month, or there's something you're holding back on right now in your life because of fear. Nothing more than that, all right? And that might be that you're not committing to your acting career fully because actually you're scared. A lot of people fear actually committing fully to something because it's far scarier to do that and fail than it is to say to yourself, oh, well, I never really went for it anyway, so it was fine that I failed. Some people are like, if I put everything into this and I still fail, then I'm going to feel really bad about myself. So actually, it's safer not committing and not throwing myself into this because if I just step back a little bit and I fail, then it's all right because I can say I never really tried. And people are scared. People are scared to enter relationships because of that. People are scared to commit to fitness regimes. People are scared to phone an agent. Phone a casting director, email a casting director. People are afraid to break what they see as perceived protocol, particularly in the acting industry, which I think is just a load of BS. So I am censoring myself tonight because Archie's on the scope. It's not safe to stay back, take risks. See, this kid's like 12. Archie, what are you, 12? And he's like, take risks. I love it. Feel the fear and do it anyway, says Lee. That book always comes up. So he's 12 years old and he knows the score already. Fanny's scared to be her true self. So Fanny, I know you keep putting off coming to the Acts on This meetup. So we do some great in-person meetups, guys. If you're part of Acts on This and the community, if you're not, come and join the Facebook group, come and join the main site, www.actsonthis.tv. And we also do some in-person meetups. I do one in Manchester at the start of the month, like every Saturday, first Saturday of the month. And then Jennifer Hannah, a great member of the group, she runs a London one on the last Saturday of every month. And they're brilliant. They're getting bigger and bigger events. We held one in Manchester. We had about 25 people come to the last one. They're just super positive, inspiring. Everyone walks away from that meet-up on a Saturday so motivated to kick ass in their career. And then Fanny, I know you messaged me going, oh, I'm just, I feel like I'm afraid to come and be part of that. And everybody knows and loves you from the group online and sees all of your videos that you post and all of your comments and that kind of stuff. So she's saying, stop telling everybody. No, I'm going to out you. I'm going to out you so that we put pressure on you to get yourself down to the next one. Because there's no reason to fear, particularly a group of people who already know you. I understand going to, Mary, good evening. I understand people, afraid to go to press nights on their own or a theatre event on their own or something like that. But you're going to this event where you know everybody. Lucy, she just commented, Lucy was there on Saturday. It was great, wasn't it, Lucy? Really, really good. Someone even helped Lucy film a crowdfunding video whilst we were there, the pitch for a film. So that's now up online. So it's like a super productive meeting as well. Everybody should quit being fearful of just nonsense like that. There's no reason to be fearful of that kind of thing. Yeah, Dawn helped Lucy with a video. I completely agree. I really want to pursue my acting career. Says who was that? I couldn't read the username on that. Let us know your first name, whoever it was who said that. But yeah, you've got to really kind of grab hold of this fear. And the book that I'm going to read to you a little bit of tonight, great book, and it's called The Motivation Manifesto. It's by a brilliant author and high performance coach. He's been a bit of a mentor of mine over the last Trista, awesome. He's been a mentor of mine for 4 or 5 years. He's called Brendan Burchard. Great guy. You might have heard his podcast called The Charged Life, I think it's called. It's great. He's also got a book that we did on Book Club. We did probably a year ago or so, called The Charge. You should definitely check out that. Or if you go to actonthis.tv, you can listen to the previous book clubs we've done on the book. Great, legitimate high-performance coach. No airy-fairy nonsense with this guy. He's very much scientific. The science of success, the science of high performance, how to hack your brain, your body, your mind, your focus, in order to get things done and eliminate the fear that you've got going on in your life. So I started to read the book today. It's broken down into 9 chapters, right? 9 declarations. We're going to look at 4. Well, we're going to look at 3, actually. We're going to look at a general outlook of the book today, like an outline of the book today. Then we're going to look at 3 declarations over the next 3 Wednesdays. If you want to read the other 6, get the book. I know it looks like a Bible. It looks a bit serious, but it's not. It's like really, really decent. If you're on the audio experience, you can't see that. But yeah, it's like a black cover that looks very much like a Bible, but it's much more interesting. Not that the Bible's not that interesting. I've never really sat down and read it, but for me, this is more interesting. The declarations are, number 1, we shall meet life with full presence and power. Number 2, we shall reclaim our agenda. So if you don't know what your agenda is, people use agenda as like a negative. It's not. Your agenda is really kind of like almost like your manifesto. What you are setting out to do with your life, what's on your agenda. It's not like having a hidden agenda. We shall defeat our demons. We've all got demons that need defeating. We shall advance with abandon, so we just go for it, basically. We shall practice joy and gratitude. I say all the time, gratitude is literally the antidote for everything. So is. I can't hammer that home enough. When you're feeling like crap, just look at what you can be grateful for. It will instantly change your state of being. We shall not break integrity. I feel being having integrity is everything really in my business and my life. We shall amplify love, hugely important. We shall inspire greatness. So instead of looking for inspiration in your life, guys, I suggest to everybody, you just become it, and then you'll have it in abundance. And we shall slow time, and we slow time by living in the present, obviously, and rather than regretting the past and fearing the future. You need to get the gratitude effect, says Caroline. Is that a book, Caroline? I don't know about it, but it sounds like a great book. So tonight, I just want to read, it's kind of like just a few little pages, guys. It's not going to be a super long scope tonight, but it's just such a powerful question, really, and it just gets people to focus on what they're fearful of in their life right now, Because I know you are, because I know that because I am. There's things I know, and it was a bit of an excuse, but I should have been going to a conference, a marketing conference, an online kind of like marketing and business conference in America next week. Now, I'd completely planned to do that and had it in my goals from December to do in 2017. And I got a job on an animation, basically, for 52 episodes of this animation, and it clashed with the dates of this conference, so I had to pull out of the conference. And I know a part of me felt so relieved because I didn't have to go to the conference over in the States on my own, effectively. And I know, if I had have gone, I couldn't go because this job was really important, but I know that if I'd have gone and just basically faced that fear anyway and done it, I would have grown so much from that experience. And there's a part of me that's disappointed that I can't go because although I was relieved, I was like, damn, I'm letting myself off again. So I'm booking it for later on this year. There's a second one later. I think it's in October, so I'll definitely get myself to that one. But I know that fear was definitely there. There's fear in other parts of my life, in my own acting career. There was fears as a to pursue my career as a presenter until the start of this year. There's lots of things that crop up for me where I feel the fear. Sometimes I do it anyway. Other times I know I let myself off and I make excuses and go, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna, not commit to that thing because it's easier not to. We'll hold you down to that, says Trista. Yeah, definitely hold me to it without a doubt. So I just want to get you guys focused in really on what you might be holding back on, what you're afraid of, what you're not committing to, whether that's in your personal life, your professional life, your fitness, your physicality, your health, anything like that. And I just want to read you a few sections of the book that I think are quite powerful. And it starts with something called the Declaration of Personal Power. So I'm going to read you this now. I'm going to try giving you guys, like I say, eye contact on camera. I'm going to try and read your comments here, and I'm going to try and read the book at the same time. So it's not easy to keep an eye on everything. But just listen to this. I think you'll resonate with this. It says, there comes a time, and give me some hearts if you agree with this. To give hearts, guys, if you're on the scope for the first time, just tap the screen. There comes a time in the lives of those destined for greatness when we must stand before the mirror of meaning and ask, why, having been endowed with the courageous heart of a lion, do we live as mice? So he feels they've got a courageous heart of a lion, but he's living as a mouse right now. Archie, my nephew says he's holding back on acting schools. I'm not doing as much as I used to, and I really need to do more. Well, you've got to just commit to it, mate. Got to just get in there. We must look squarely into our own tired eyes and examine why we waste so much time sniffing at every distraction. Why we cower at the thought of revealing our true selves to the world, Fanny, that's you. Why we scurry so quickly from conflict, and why we consent to play small. That, for me, is the part of me where I get disgusted at myself if I feel I'm playing small. If I go, actually, Ross, are you not thinking as big as you possibly can right now? That's like the thing that hits me hardest sometimes, where I go, actually, mate, you're just playing it small. And that makes me annoyed at myself, which actually motivates me to not do that. We must ask why we participate so humbly in society's frantic race, allowing ourselves into its mazes of mediocrity and settling for scraps of reward when nature has offered unlimited freedom, power, and abundance to the bold, the determined, the creative, the independent, to each of us. Okay, so if you're not playing in the big boys sand pit and you're still playing in the infant sand pit, you ain't being bold and determined and creative and independent. We must ask if our desires to feel safe and accepted are in fact enslaving us to popular opinion and to boredom. We must ask, when will we be ready to ascend to another level of existence? So give me some hearts if you're ready to if you're just sick of all the, Archie, I say bullshit quite a lot, don't tell your mum, but yeah, if you're just sick of all the bullshit in your life that's stopping you ascending to that next level. I'm currently doing a digital media course. It's full on, but I'll get there, says Trista. Awesome, man. Well, yeah, got to commit to that full on. I'm sick of the BS, says Trisha. Trisha, you've got an awesome voice, by the way. You posted that video you singing in the Facebook group. You've got to do something with it. Don't play small on that. You'll never know if you don't commit to something like that. This is exactly how I feel, says Caroline. It's how so many of us feel. And it's how I felt a few years ago, seriously, until I started really committing every single day to showing up and just putting the best work I possibly could out. Fanny says, what BS? Who do you mean, Faru? I think we've all got just nonsense in our lives. Fanny, we've all got that BS in our lives that basically we just allow ourselves, we just let ourselves off. We just play small. We make up these nonsense excuses because of our limiting beliefs. And we have so many limiting beliefs if we're not conscious of them. Thanks heaps for your motivation. It's so encouraging, says Trista. Pleasure, man. And Tricia says things just holding us back. So I'm going to read you guys a little section on the cost of fear to really hammer this home. And then we're going to look at something called aversion versus ascension. And we want ascension, not aversion. Okay, if you've got aversion, it means you're running away from the thing that you really need to face. Okay, so the cost of fear. This is interesting. To tame fear, we must first recognize its horrid effects on our lives. What comes of us when we are motivated by fear? We lose our emotional center and mental character. Our thoughts become frazzled and rizzled with anxiety. We've looked at anxiety before. A lot of people suffer from it. All conscious thinking, intelligence, and behavior narrow to self-protection, limiting our capabilities to be open and strong. Couldn't agree more with that. Our natural tendencies for genuine self-expression are paused, and our ability to act to fulfill our dreams is paralyzed. Fear does paralyze people completely. When we allow fear, and the emphasis here is allow, guys, all right? You're all allowing it, as am I when it crops up if I choose to. When we allow fear as a constant in our lives, our ambitions and behaviors become small and constrained. We become timid and stressed. We withdraw. We become cowards. Life's energy entropies. All things trapped in the cage of fear smother and die quickly. The cage of fear, that's interesting, isn't it? This is not a philosophical discussion. It's real. It's tangible. Tangible harm comes from allowing fear to overrule our drive to personal freedom. That's really true. Les Brown says fear puts people in the hospital. And it does. It will crush you. It will absolutely paralyze you, poison you, crush you, and it can make you sick. Some people become such slaves to fear that they constantly feel powerless, inferior, and are ready to give up. They allow others to hurt them because they do not speak up for themselves. They quietly play it safe, never showing themselves to the world. These are the meek who stood to inherit the earth but never rose to claim it. The sullen who watched atrocities wear on without a word of defiance. Good people stand at the sidelines of history and never make their mark. People lose their business because fear stops them from changing and innovating. Marriages end in divorce because one or both spouses are too afraid to open up, to communicate, to be vulnerable or honest. On a social level, all the worst atrocities of mankind stem from fear. And this is interesting. Listen to this. So those compelled by fear become terrified, distrustful, and often hateful of other people. So you might have people hating on you. I know this happens all the time, particularly on social media. People hate seeing people have success, and rather than celebrating other people's success, they prefer, because of the pain they are feeling inside their head. I feel sorry for people who do that. I'm like, you know what? If you have to hate on something I am doing, then I feel super bad for you that you've got so much pain inside your head that the thought of me being happy drives you to try and stop that from being so. Someone just said they're watching from Turkey. Appreciate you. That's awesome. Thanks. I think that's probably the first viewer from Turkey. So yeah, it can really make people hateful of other people, fear. So their fear gives rise to an overweening self-protection to such a degree that they want power over others. Their ego is so fiercely challenged by the rise of people, unlike themselves, that they become the bigots and tyrants and sometimes grand-scale murderers whose unchecked fear burns into a perilous soup of unspeakable action against humanity. It's quite one with words, Brendan, isn't he? It's quite a nice way to put it. Bigots and tyrants. And sometimes grand-scale murderers whose unchecked fear burns into a perilous soup of unspeakable actions against humanity. And that's right, it just all comes from fear. These are the Caligulas, Mussolinis and Bin Ladens of the world, who hate others because they fear those who stand in their way to power. They're the Hitlers, the Stalins. It's the same story over and over again. Those with power who are plagued by insecurity, that rather than directing their strengths to lift everyone up, they take comfort and pleasure in pushing down those who are unlike themselves, those they do not understand or value. There can be no doubt that whether in daily life or on the world stage, fear is the great usurper of progress and personal freedom. It's sad, but it's a real fact that history, let's turn the page, bear with me, that history is littered with good men and women who simply let the motive of fear drive their lives. Nothing ever cued them to right their mind, or they never chose to work hard to condition their thoughts to tame fear, to choose consciousness over the ease of running away from life. So it's the first section, basically. ultimately he's saying, guys, we've all got a choice. Give me some hearts if you feel you've got a choice of whether to be fearful or not, or whether you feel like, oh, this is just like, I just have to be afraid of everything. This is true. Who's Trista? Where are you viewing from? He's got to go to bed. It must be. He said it's super late. Where are you viewing? Where are you viewing from, man? Let us know. Unless you've. Oh, so you're saying you've been up since 6? Oh yeah, because of course it's nearly 9:30 in the UK. But yeah, it is a choice. If you are being fearful, you're very much choosing to allow that. Oh, Trista's in Australia. Wow, man! Thank you so much for watching. That's incredible. Tricia says, I like that, taming fear. Yeah, absolutely. And Fanny, don't tell on my nephew, he's staying up to watch this. This is important. So we're looking at a little section now. It's only a short section, guys. I just want to read you on something called aversion versus ascension. And like I say, we're all looking to ascend from fear, all right? And I want you over the next week, particularly over the next 24 hours, at least, to really focus on feeling that fear, like we said before, but doing it anyway. And actually, when you are feeling that fear, use that as a compass to go, you know what, I'm actually on the right path here because I'm feeling a little bit afraid. Don't need to be too absolutely terrified, but, feel that fear to a comfortable level and go, right, you know what, this is right for me. Whether that's the fear you feel before you walk into the casting suite at an audition, the fear you feel before the phone rings, once you've dialed the number and just before you hear the ring for the first couple of times, you'll go, oh my God, I'm really doing this. I'm phoning this agent, or I'm phoning this casting director, or I'm phoning this person to ask them out, or something like that. I want you to feel it and actually learn to enjoy that. Learn to enjoy that part of the process because it's so necessary. That courage for 2 or 3 seconds that's required before you've committed to something can change your life. Absolutely can transform your entire being. So aversion versus ascension. Let's let Brendan explain this. So Brendan says, fear rules us only if we let it. All right. Eloise says, great feeling when you fear it and no need to. Yeah, no need to fear the fear. So fear rules us only when we let it. In almost all cases, it's something that we can choose to activate or not activate. We can choose to run or not, even if our impulse is blaring at its highest decibel to run. Now, this is interesting, okay? How does the firefighter enter the inferno to save people if that's not the case? He chooses not to be fearful. How does the captain of a ship give the lifeboats to the others? How do the anxious still share their voice with the world? Perhaps we don't feel like we can make this choice to be more brave than fearful, but eventually we can all become masters of our own impulses. So it's got a little quote here. It says, a great maturity opens in the human psyche when we accept that we can control our impulses by conditioning our thoughts, and that we alone are responsible for our emotions and reactions in life. And you are responsible completely. And I talk about responses as opposed to reactions because naturally you'll want to react in a certain way. It might be anger or fear. You might want to run. If you take 5 seconds, guys, all it takes to think about the situation, check in with yourself and respond rather than react. Again, that can change the game for you. Alex is here. Good evening, Alex. So he says, it's difficult to accept, but it's no less true. If fear is winning in our lives, it's because we simply keep choosing it over our other impulses to be strong or bold or great. This is the story of the stay-at-home mom who wants to go back to work but didn't apply because she's letting a fear of her own self-worth hold her back. It's the employee who wants to ask for a deserved raise but feels afraid she might be denied. It's the young man who feels inspired to try out for a musical, Archie, but worries what his friends will think. Maybe that's you. I've got my friend shouting in my ear and I can't hear a thing, says Archie. Right. Tell him to pipe right down. Most adults understand that they are making a choice to let fear win in any given situation. All right? Ask an honest person, did you know you were acting from fear the last time you stopped behaving as yourself or working towards something you wanted? And did you know you had another choice at the time? The honest person will say, yeah, I knew I had a chance to speak up for myself or to be more courageous, but I was scared. I didn't want to be judged or hurt, so I chose the easy route. Archie says, that's me. Who else has chose the easy route this week? It's only Wednesday, but have you chosen an easy route? Be completely honest with me. I live my entire life in fear in varying degrees, says Fanny. You're a complete, like, I don't know, you're like what's the word? A contradiction, though, Fanny, in a way, because your social media doesn't show you as that. So either you're not being you're not showing integrity or authenticity through social media, or you're not self-aware enough to know that you're not really like that and you are just letting fear rule you. Very interesting case study, I think. But yeah, try and choose to ignore that. So Fanny says, yeah, because that's on a screen, not in real life. Interesting. It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna mull that over. So yeah, Brendan says, let us be clear once more that if we're not free, if we are not genuinely expressing our full personality and pursuing our true desires, it's because we're choosing to act from aversion rather than ascension. Thus, our grand battles in life are between our desire for freedom and the fearful impulses that destroy desire. The juxtaposition could be no less stark. At any moment, we are acting from a state of mind driven by fear or freedom. And that's it, guys. They're the two states you can basically be in. You're either acting from a state of mind of fear and you're not doing stuff, or a state of mind of freedom and you're going for it. Gosh, this is a wordy book. It is, Caroline, but I think he's quite... I think Brendan's still articulate. So it's wordy, but I think people still get it. It's quite easy to understand. So he says, and the stakes are high. All advancement in our maturity and growth as individuals and societies hinges on our motives. Either fear will win or freedom will win. Let that phrase ring true in our minds as we carry out our ideal lives. Okay, good evening, Dawn. Dawn's here as well. He says, fear wins or freedom wins. I mean, there's no other kind of... that's it. I mean, there's no other ending. It's basically fear wins or freedom wins. And so let us ask ourselves, will my life be about aversion or ascension? The former is a life motivated by fear, a small life that turns from hardship towards short-term safety. Okay, who's played it safe this week for short-term safety and just long-term unfulfillment and annoyance? Self-protection and egotistic ease. The other, says his freedom, is a life motivated by freedom, a reason to act from our true humanity toward long-term growth, authentic self-expression, and enlightened effort. One is the conditioning of weak and constrained and conforming and suffering beings. The other, the conditioning of strong, spontaneous, independent, and fulfilled beings. One reaches us as a lowly and often pathetic impulse. The other requires our full consciousness and mental devotion to courage and self-mastery. So yeah, you choose, guys, fear or freedom. And it's entirely up to you. Like, it just is. I mean, that's it. Basically, right now, you choose fear and you're letting your losing DNA control your life there. Or you choose freedom and you let your winning DNA. Okay, and we've all got losing and winning DNA within us. And it's your choice to choose which mutates the fastest, all right, and which grows throughout your entire being. Please don't let your losing DNA win. Caroline says she's depressed. Caroline, this isn't meant to depress you. This is meant to make you reflect and go, you know what? This is a little check-in. How have I been letting my psyche rule my life so far? Have I been fearful, or have I chosen freedom? And what you do now, if you've been choosing fear every time, in your life up until this point, then you choose freedom from here on out. Archie's depressed because Tottenham have just scored. Don't worry about it, Archie. Reflection is often depressing for me. Well, but you know what, guys, right? I say this all the time, but when if you do reflect and you feel pain, embrace that. Look at it as a good thing, because whilst you're feeling it, I say this all the time, you've still got time on the clock. It's not too late for you. We read a book last month called The 5 Regrets of the Dying, the top 5 regrets of the dying. You're not dead yet. You've got, years. Some people on here, decades. Archie, you've got maybe 90 years ahead of you, mate. He's got to go to bed now. All right, see you later, dude. Thanks for watching. But yeah, you've got to just embrace the freedom. I didn't do Manuel Puro's self-tape 30-day challenge due to fear of failing, says Eloise. Was that Eloise who said that? I didn't see who said that. Right, well, that's great self-awareness. That's the first step to go, right, you know what, next time that course comes up, because that course will come up again. It's been so popular, it's sold out, it will absolutely come up again. Make sure you commit to it. Go for it, Eloise. You must do it. Embrace the madness, says Trisha. Funny, that was just a course that Manuel was doing on a self-saving course that I saw online that a lot of people went in for. It was quite a popular course. I don't know if it's any good. Can't endorse it, but yeah, that's what people have been signing up for a lot this week. My fear is losing my accent, says Lisa. Lisa, you've got a great accent. You don't need to lose it. Accents for TV right now, if you've got a dialect like Scouse or Geordie or whatever, more popular than ever. You don't have to lose that at all. If you wanted to go and do Shakespeare on the the RSC, you might have to develop an RP accent. But if you want to do TV, then don't try and. Ultimately, Michael Jackson said this to me, not the king of pop, the king of casting, Michael Jackson, Beverly Keogh casting. He said, listen, we employ you and we bring you in for what you are, not for what you can be. So don't distill down and water down what you are as a Liverpudlian actress, because there's some incredible parts for Liverpudlian actresses out there. And you know what a lot of people do? This is bullshit. A lot of people use things like excuses, Lisa. Like, oh, well, I'm going to focus on losing this accent first before I commit to my acting career. People did this at drama school. When I was at drama school, they wanted to basically go, oh, I've got to get rid of this accent or that accent, get rid of my Cockney, get rid of my Geordie accent or whatever. Dawn's Geordie, awesome accent, I love it. And they use that as just bullshit procrastination, again, to fear to stop themselves committing. Oh, I'll commit to my acting career once I've done this. Oh, I'll commit once I've got in Spotlight. I'll commit once I've done this course. I'll commit once I've got my headshots. I'll commit once I've got a new show reel. I'll commit once I've dropped my accent. I'll commit when I can do American. Bollocks! Just do it now and enjoy the process as you go along. Do all those things in conjunction with committing right now. Guilty of that, says Fanny. Well, stop being guilty. I have no accent. I don't know what mine is. It's all over the world accent. Well, that's fine, And you can also, you can still develop these accents and get these accents nailed. You only really need a general Northern, a general Southern, and a general American, and you can pretty much, work consistently for your entire life. You don't need to go, I've got to do a Somerset accent. I've got to, I'll be fine when I've nailed my Bristol accent. What? When are you ever going to get asked to do that? Like, once in a blue moon? So, yeah, stop procrastinating and collecting shiny objects because you're actually afraid of committing, because it's harder and there's more on the line once you've committed and you fail than you would do if you don't really commit and you fail, because you can say, oh, well, I never really tried. That's what I said at the beginning of this scope. It's what so many people are doing. Ultimately, that time's going to pass anyway, guys. So you might as well just go for it, because you could be dead tomorrow. That's ultimately it. That's what it really comes down to. You could die tomorrow. So all this bullshit you're worrying about and you're fearful of, it means nothing. Literally means nothing at the end of the day. I've got one tiny little bit of this book left to read, you guys, that I just wanted to read. And this is about the worriers that you might have in your life who are trying to protect you. And they mean well, but they instill this fear into you. So you might have people in your environment right now that are actually making you fearful. And it's fear that you might not otherwise feel, but they're kind of pushing it onto you. And it could be your family, your mum, your dad, your brother, could be your partner. It could be another actor who's not making it right now and not having any success, and they push it onto you because it makes them feel better about themselves. And these are the worriers in your life. So Brendan says, the worriers around us today are often the biggest threat to inflaming our fear. Caroline says, God, yes. They are the most likely to steal our motivation and destiny because they often seem to be our friends. This is the problem with it. We are so close to them that their anxiety can bleed onto us. We must learn to control our reactions around them. My mum told me I was crap, but I love her. Well, you've got to prove to her you're not, and you know you're not. Most worriers are not unkind people. They have no clue of the fear they impose on our lives, or the way their incessant voices of doubt oppress our potential. They don't see that they cause treachery by arguing for us to play it safe. It's the loving mothers who say, careful, honey, at every turn as her child goes about her normal activities of childhood. The co-worker who gives 10 reasons why we might get in trouble and not a single word about how we might change the world. The lover who incessantly fears we are, as a couple, are going to fail and keeps imploring us back down from a fight or from the edge of any risk. These people believe they're thoughtful, loving, and protective. Their cautious words are most often delivered from a loving place. They want good for us. They feel a duty to protect us from hurt, and so they try to direct us towards the well-worn paths that they understand. These are our parents, our friends, our peers, our lovers, our neighbours, and our leaders. It's an awkward social reality, but we must protect ourselves from being limited by those who care for us as much as by those who blatantly oppose us. And I'm ending it there. I think it's really interesting, isn't it? Sometimes the people who care for you the most can be the people who are actually the biggest hurdle in your life and your career. Sometimes that person can be you. You know, I know there's been times in my acting career and in my business online, I've become the biggest hurdle because I can't, I used to have a real issue with delegation, a real issue with control. I had to do everything myself. I wanted to be a solopreneur, a one-man band. I wouldn't let anything go, let anyone else, write for me or film for me or edit for me. And then as soon as I started letting that go, I realized there's loads of people around me who are just better than me at these various things. I can't be incredible at everything. I know that's hard to believe, isn't it? But, my core competencies, I can't possibly have 12 of them. We've all got 2 or 3 core competencies where we're like, this is a real skill of mine. And we've got to let go of that control and delegate other things that, will help us get further in our lives and careers to other people. Otherwise, you'd never give your agent, a lot of control over your career. If you didn't trust them, you'd be like, oh, actually, no, I'm going to do this all myself. Sometimes some people are better off doing that because their agents really aren't particularly good. But you've got to, really let that control go. Richard's here from Miami. Rich, mate, good evening or good afternoon for you. He says, quality nuggets of wisdom there. Appreciate that. I hate knowing I'm not good at everything, but I'm beginning to accept it, says Fanny. Do you know what? It's the most liberating thing in the world, Fanny, when you actually go, oh my goodness me, I found somebody who, I can not only trust, but I know is going to do the job better than me. And I found that in my business a few times. I've found that with Chris Stone, the director, when I get him to film the interviews for me. I've got a new guy coming on board to help me film the interviews, a guy called Matt. Young, really enthusiastic guy. He's going to be filming Rob's interview tomorrow night. I know he's better at that than I am. And when you can employ people who are just better than you, it just feels great. It feels like you're not fully, founded sometimes, or rounded sometimes, as you say, Fanny. You can't be great at everything. You just can't. You've got 2 choices in life. You can either go... People on the audio experience can't see this, but I'm putting my arms out wide. You can go a mile wide, guys, and an inch deep. Or what the most successful people in the world have taught me is it's far better to go an inch wide and a mile deep. And you become known for that thing. I mean, my voiceover career is very much like that. I do one voice. I've been employed consistently every week, mostly every other day or every 3 days for 12 years by doing the same voice for 12 years. I did 4 hours today, I've got 2 hours tomorrow, I've got 4 hours on Monday, 4 hours on Tuesday, 2 hours Tuesday afternoon, and it's not even next week. And nearly in every situation, I'm basically doing a voice like this, and it's just a happy, I'll read the back of this book in the voice that I would do. The ultimate guide to living a fully charged life in a chaotic world. The charge is an inspiring guide to the one thing we all want, more life in our lives. Brenda Burchard proves that we can harness our emotional drives to feel more alive. That's it. That one voice. Every single time. I'm not trying to do a million accents. I'm not trying to, spread across the mile-wide niche that is the voiceover industry. I've drilled down into 1 inch of it and I've gone a mile deep. And I get employed time and time again for that same thing. It's the same in my acting career. I've come to the conclusion that, I have a casting type that sometimes we don't like going, oh, okay, I fit in a bracket, but I do. I play a professional. I play a doctor, a barrister, a policeman, something like that. And I get, and they're the auditions that I put myself forward for. I go for, I seek out. In my own time, I'll do stuff that's away from that just to stretch myself. So, I'll play a bit of an action hero in one of Chris Stone's films or something like that. How do you find your niche to start in voice? Self-awareness, Fanny. So for me, it was recording myself a lot, over and over and over and over and over, and actually playing it back and going, well, you know what kind of things do I feel that my voice would suit if I was selling it in a commercial? And a lot of the time, you actually are the target audience for the products you would end up voicing as a voiceover actor. So for me, as a 34-year-old man, something like, I don't know, I get employed a lot for food, fast food kind of joints. I get employed for holidays. I get employed for apps and technology. And a lot of the things I get employed for are actually things that I'm the target audience for because the clients want someone to sound when they're doing the voiceover like someone who would buy the product. So for you, as your age and as a woman, you would go, what products am I buying? I'd probably be the voice for those kind of products. Trisha says I don't look 34. Thank you, Trisha. Appreciate that. 35 in September. But yeah, I think our entire journey through life, I don't know if we'll ever completely nail it, guys, but I think it's all about self-awareness. And we're just increasing our self-awareness all the time. And I think that's literally, that is the key to success in anything. Knowing yourself, knowing what you're capable of, knowing what you're not capable of just yet, what you should work on, what you want to work on, because sometimes you don't want to actually work on the things that you feel you should. I always say, screw your weaknesses. It's pointless. What's the point of spending 60 years working on something that you don't like, that's a weakness of yours, when you can employ someone who's always going to be better than you at that thing, like I just said? Focus on your strengths and enjoy yourself. But self-awareness will bring you that awareness, that knowledge of actually, what you are, where you fit. It's all about developing self-awareness. I think it's like key to life, seriously. So Julia's here as well. Good evening, Julia. Thanks for joining everybody tonight. This is great. Seeing loads of people in here I've not seen in a while. But yeah, I think, ultimately, just to wrap up, guys, it's like that last sentence in the book, about people, that I just read to you, about people, warriors effectively pushing fear onto you. We've got to protect ourselves from being limited by those who care for us just as much as by those who blatantly oppose us. And you've really got to protect yourself from yourself if it is fear that's being bred in your mind right now. So, just think what you've done so far this week. Like I say, it's Wednesday. What have you done, or what haven't you committed to this week that you wish you had because fear has stopped you? So for Eloise, it was that self-tape course, a 30-day self-tape challenge. Don't do that next time. Let's not repeat this again. Learn from it. You've not failed by doing that because you've learned something from it, so that's a success in itself. Next time, you commit to that, okay? But you can't go through your life. There's a great quote. It said you can't live the same year 75 times and call it a life. And I think a lot of people let fear just kind of rule them, and then they end up living the same year 75 times, and they die, and they haven't really had a life. So push yourself this week, guys. If you listen on the audio experience, whatever you're doing right now, just have a little reflect on where you are right now, what you're doing, and what you're fearful of. I haven't committed to the food intake for my 12-week challenge as I fear going without sugar, says Fanny. Well, commit to it. See what it's like. You never know till you do it. And that's not something to be fearful of. I mean, no one's ever died, Fanny, by not having sugar, I don't think. Dawn says, yeah, that's me, Groundhog Day. Yeah, you've got to have some variety in your life. Try new things out. And I'm Mr. Regimented. Like, my days are military, like precision almost, in terms of my morning routine, getting up, going to the gym, coming back, working. But there's sometimes where I'm like, right, I've absolutely got to commit to something, to something new. Someone's trying to rope me into doing some horse riding this weekend. That's something very new to me. And I want to do it. There's a bit of me that's fearful. Admittedly, there really is. There's a bit of me that's like, what if I fall off? People have broke their backs falling off horses. But I'm like, well, I think, there's a tiny, tiny percentage of that. 99.9% of people probably enjoy themselves, so I'm going to do it. Thank you. I'm getting this book, and this has helped, said Trisha. Get the book. Seriously, guys, it's good. Fletch said, I left my job after 10 years in February to concentrate on my acting. Boom! You're the second person I know who's done that. Good on you. Get on that horse, says Eloise. Yeah, I'm going to. Eloise, tell you. I'm on it. I'm absolutely on it. So there you go. For those who are watching the video or on replay, I'm holding the book up right now. Audio experience listeners, you can't see this. It looks like a Bible, like I said. But get the book, guys, the Motivation Manifesto. Just look into Brendan, because he's great. He's been a mentor of mine for a few years, and he's just really, really good. And like I say, he's not... There's a lot, as there is in the acting industry, there's a lot of bullshit out there. There's a lot of people who will rip you off. There's a lot of people who are regurgitating the same stuff and passing it off as their own. Brendan's not like that at all. Brendan's like legit. Seriously, he's one of a few people in the personal development niche that I'm like, this guy's like super, super credible. Really, really endorse him. So he gets a full Ross Grant recommendation. He's got many books out, actually. I just bought a business book of his called The Millionaire Principles. I think it's called that. It's over there somewhere. But it's good. He's obviously a very successful businessman as well, but he is legit. So yeah, do check him out, look him up, and watch a few of his videos. He's a good guy. So that's it from me tonight. I hope you've enjoyed that. Fanny says she needs a new book. Well, there you go. But again, Fanny, don't just keep collecting books and procrastinating. Okay, there comes a point where you've got to stop reading and you've got to start taking action on what you've read. That's the difference. When do you have time to read, Ross? Now, Dawn. So the reason, I'll be honest with you, it's slightly selfish of me setting up this book club on a Wednesday night. Because what I did 2 years ago, I set myself a goal. Everyone who knows me knows I'm really big on goal setting. I do a lot of scopes on it towards the end of every year. I do a lot of articles on it towards the end of every year. And I set myself very strategic goals at the end of every year. One of my goals in 2015, I think it was to read 20 books in that year. And I thought, how am I going to do this? And I like to hack my schedule, hack my life a little bit. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to sit down and read 20 books, because I feel sometimes when I've read books in the past that when I'm reading a book, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not doing any work. Even though I'm completely taking in the knowledge. The beautiful thing about books is you can take in 40 years of knowledge off that author in a weekend if you read someone's book. That's how powerful they are. But sometimes I'd be like, I feel guilty almost for sitting down and reading a book because I wasn't working on my business, or it wasn't anything acting related or anything like that. And I thought, well, one way I can hack this is I can give value to other people by reading books for them, as in you guys. And also, I'm going to have dozens of people online who are going to end up holding me accountable, because they're going to expect me to jump on a Periscope every Wednesday night and read them a book. So in a weird way, I'm giving you guys value, but it's very selfish because I'm making myself get on a scope every Wednesday, and I'll read a book for an hour before the scope, 8 till 9. I'll read the chapter, and then I'll regurgitate what I've read to you guys. So I appreciate you for helping me with this process, but that's when I find time to read. Dawn says, I don't think I've ever finished a book. Well, make it a goal, Dawn, and check it out. No act is selfless, says Fanny. Fact. No, it's not. It's absolutely not. You know, and you know what? It shouldn't be. You can what you need to do in life, guys, is just choose wisely that that your decisions do impact other people. So Act On This absolutely is a business, a legitimate, genuine business that I want to grow and I want to earn an income from doing something that I love. But equally, I have a huge charitable portion of the website where I give at the moment a lot of revenue. You know, the website owes me tens of thousands of pounds. It's not made me any profit, and I've given a lot of profit away to charity because I get a lot of other stuff from the website, and I'm very fortunate with work that I don't need to take money from it just yet, but I will do in the future. But you know, I'm kind of hitting both bases there. I'm creating something that's for myself, but I'm creating something that's far bigger than me, with a far bigger mission than just me. Because I think anything I've ever done in my life, and this goes for anyone who's creating a business, anything I've ever done where the primary driver, the primary motivator has been money, has failed, and it's failed so quickly. So when you create a business that actually is bigger than you, impacts people very positively and makes a massive difference. If everyone out there is like, oh, well, I can't set up a business, all this kind of stuff. If you've only got 200 followers on Twitter and you're feeling bad about yourself because like, oh God, I'm not famous, I only have 200 followers, I'm not any good. You know what? If you can impact just 10% of those, 20 people positively this year, I promise you, you have done more for this world than 99% of the population. So if you can just make your business idea or whatever it is that you're doing, your purpose, bigger than you, you're doing something incredible, because so many people are not. They're just doing things for themselves and they're failing. This has had a huge positive impact on me, Ross. Thank you, says Eloise. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Because yeah, you know, like, don't get your self-worth screwed up with like, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have that. If you can just make 1 or 2 people's lives better this week, you're doing so much more than so many of this population, because so many of the population are in so much pain inside that they are the people who are bringing other people down. And, you know, and you can sit there, like I said before, and look for inspiration, or, you know what, you can get up off your arse and you can just be that inspiration. And not only will you be it for other people, but you'll then end up filling yourself with it, and you'll have it in abundance. And people will love you for it. They'll want to be around you. You'll ultimately just get so much more in your life. Strange things happen when you just start putting out good into the world and you start making positivity louder. And I'm going to end on something that happened to me today. This is synchronicity, right? And you know what I'm like, right? I like the science. I like to explain things, but occasionally I've said, you know what, there's some things that I can't explain that happened to me in life. This happened to me today that was crazy, okay? Oh, it was crazy for me. It might not have an impact on you, but I've wanted to work with a company on my business and about social media presence, personal brand presence, developing my online business. I'm a personal brand as an actor as well. And I found a company about 6 weeks ago, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to work with this company. They're probably way out of my league. I can't afford them yet, but I just buy into their ethos. They're incredible people. They've achieved loads themselves. I want to be a part of what they're doing. And I didn't really know how to break through that barrier. Again, it's a bit like ringing an agent and going, right, can you sign me up? When you've not really got that many credentials. But I was like, I really need to get in with this company and find an in. And I was emailing them and I was getting no reply back, constantly. And then check this out, right? This is crazy. I went to do a voiceover today and I'm sat there and these two guys jump on Skype and I'm doing this voiceover for an app that they've created. Or an app for a client. A client of theirs has created this app. And we do this voiceover and we're getting on really, really well. Having a load of banter, doing a great job for them. At the end of that call, the studio engineer says to this guy, Richard, who's on the call, oh, Richard, whose email address am I sending this audio to? And he goes, oh, just send it to Richard at blah, 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 the name of this company. And I went, oh my God, you're Richard from blah. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, guys, I have been trying to get in touch with you for weeks. Now I've got you on the line. You're captive. You're my audience. Stay on the line. I'm going to explain to you all about my business, all about acting, what I want to achieve. And I've now arranged a brew next week to go into their Manchester office and speak to those two guys. Not only that, I find out Richard, this is synchronicity, Richard lives 3 minutes away from my house. I mean, it's just that I can't explain. That I cannot explain. It's like there are things sometimes that just come into your life. I mean, what are the chances of the tens of thousands of companies I've done work for over the years in Manchester? What are the chances that I end up getting on a call, do a voiceover for the two guys I have been trying to get hold of madly for the last 6 weeks? I didn't even know I was talking to them as I was doing the voiceover. Just mental. And I'm like, at that point, that's when I go, oh my God, okay, maybe the universe does just deliver us things that we're not expecting. Normally, I like the science and I like to reverse engineer stuff, but that's crazy, isn't it? Fletch says, small world. It is, Lee. Absolutely is. Brilliant, says Dawn. So, yeah, I want to leave you with that. And I think that has only come about, like, genuinely, if I have to believe in the universe and that kind of thing, I think stuff like that has only come about in my life because I get up every day and I just try and give. And again, it's not selflessly, like Fanny said, I give obviously because I want to have a better quality life myself, but I just find it's a lot easier by obtaining that through being a force for good than it is from just getting something, for yourself and looking at life transactionally. You've been giving off that energy that has attracted them, says Eloise. Maybe I have. That decision tomorrow can change my life. Scared much, but we'll survive. What's that, Sam? What decision? Before we go, tell me that. I want to know what that is, and then I'm going to leave you guys to it. Let me know what you mean. What decision could change your life tomorrow? About an agent, is it? Because I know you've been messaging me about an agent. Hospital, about your shoulder. Ah, right, okay, because you broke your shoulder. Oh, awesome. Well, good luck with that, mate. I hope that all works out really well for you. Do let us know. I've been watching your Instagram stories, so check it out. And those who aren't on Instagram yet, guys, it's all going off on Instagram. Get yourself on Instagram. Follow me at ActOnThisTV. Have a look at who I'm following, because most of the people on this scope I'm following. Follow all those people as well. It's just so nice to just like tune into other people's lives and see what they're doing on their stories. So Instagram stories is different to your Instagram profile. Stories is 15 seconds of video you can just take throughout the day and create a story throughout 24 hours. Then it disappears. Super, super entertaining. And I put stuff on there all the time. I'm going to put a lot of stuff with Rob Collier on tonight. I know Lee Fletcher's just started following us on Instagram. Good choice, Lee. My Instagram has really taken off, says Heather. I'm telling you guys, like seriously, you'll thank me in 2 years' time when everyone who's been on these scopes is like, oh my God, Ross was right. This is where the puck is going to. Historically, I know I'm going to be correct. It's not arrogance, I just confidence in that. I know this is where the world's attention is going to be in 2 years' time. It's awesome. Lee says he didn't know he wasn't following me. Whatever, Lee. Good excuse. But he sorted it now. Amazing. Right, guys, I'm going to leave you. Again, I'm going to film another interview tomorrow. Like I say, another Act on This TV interview with Rob James Collier. If you've never watched any of my video interviews, I'm going to play you a trailer of the last one that I did with Jordan Hogg, the Coronation Street director. This is purely because it fits in with tonight's theme of fear. Jordan actually said to me, he's disabled, Jordan. He's got cerebral palsy. His right-hand side of his body's almost kind of like just paralysed in a way. He's got very limited mobility. And he's not let fear stop him. The guy's gone on to like direct so many incredible things. He's worked for Disney. He's now directing Coronation Street. Thank you, Tom, for following me on Instagram. Just seeing that come up. And And he's just a great guy. He's one who's not really let fear rule him. He's chosen freedom every single time. So hopefully this will give you a little bit of inspiration. And I'll see you guys on Monday for Motivation and Mind Hacks. So appreciate everybody for listening, watching. If you're on the replay of the audio experience, love you all. I'll see you at 9 p.m. Monday night live. And also, subscribe to the Acts on This TV audio experience on iTunes or Stitcher. Just search for Acts on This TV, all one word, because I put all the audio for these Periscopes out on those channels as well. So if you ever miss one of these, you can just listen to the audio when you're out and about. So this is the trailer for Jordan Hogg's interview. If you want to watch the full thing, actonthis.tv, and I'll see you guys Monday. Have a fantastic rest of the week, guys, and a great weekend, all right? Thank you so much. Bye for now.
I love being a director, but it's just not something I love and have wanted to do. It's something I need to do. I don't know why. I've got no clue why. I know I have to do it. I've said countless times to people, why don't you do what you want to do? Why? What's stopping you? You've got every option on your doorstep to do what you want to do. I mean, I'm a disabled kid from a Victorian seaside town in North Yorkshire. All my mates work in factories and are drivers and things. And somehow I've managed to do what I want to do. And I love going to work. I do it for free. That's why I've got an agent, to make sure I don't.
Yeah.